What are we here to talk about?
Who knows? Hello! And welcome back to my channel, TorAthena, where today we are reviewing Ghostbusters.
Gustin? Bustin makes me feel good.
Yes, so this is one, completely spoiler filled. We will be talking in depth about the movie Ghostbusters. And two, I'm with Ilan.
Yeah.
You've seen it before on many a thing, and I always want to do this thing called movie talk with Ilan, so it's really convenient that we do the reviews together.
And I love talking movies, so
we both love movies.
It's a great platform for me.
Exactly. Also, we have also drank
enough wine to loosen the tongue.
We didn't mean it to be like a drinking review, but it happened.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the
Roll
film.
out.
So first off, I think we should probably talk with Ghostbusters, like with something we haven't really done with a lot of films, what we thought the film was going to be like, our expectations.
Okay, yes. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Personally, I hated the idea of it. Initially, when I first heard there were women, I was like, fair enough, there were women. Then I saw the suits, I saw the trailer, and I was like, no, not for me. The trailer looks awful. The suits look terrible. This is not going to be a film I like.
My initial thought when I heard they were doing a sequel to Ghostbusters, because this is something we've been hearing for the last few years. We've constantly been hearing they're going to do another sequel, they're going to do a sequel, they're going to do but this was all kind of like with the assumption that the original 4 was going to be part of it. And then Harold Ramis unfortunately died, which is really sad. And then not too long after he died, they said they're going to do the sequel, but now it's going to be all girls. I didn't mind, because at the end of the day, they were never going to do the original Ghostbusters. They were never going to do the original Ghostbusters again. They were going to do something with the Ghostbusters, but the original Ghostbusters were safe, and that's comfortable, and that's never going to be tarnished. That's a perfect little thing that they can stick on the shelf. This is just something new.
I almost saw it as like a spoof, like a parody. You know when you watch like Jimmy Kimmel Live and they do like parody like sketches? I almost felt like this film was going to be a parody sketch to the original Ghostbusters.
Like when French and Saunders did the Spice Girls.
Or the Titanic. They did the best Titanic rendition ever. I also should mention, we haven't actually spoke about what we thought.
Yeah, we've purposefully not said a word to each other. I haven't even given a facial expression.
I'm actually, yeah. So what did you think? Oh my God, what did you think?
The original Ghostbusters wasn't that big a thing for me. It wasn't that huge a franchise for me, but watching this Ghostbusters made me realise how good the original Ghostbusters was.
You didn't like it?
I didn't say I didn't like it. I thought it was good, but there was so many things that I think made the original Ghostbusters so good, and none of that was in this Ghostbusters.
Okay, I'm open to listening to that, because in all fairness, I was pleasantly surprised with this film.
Oh yeah,
it is what it is. It was a good comedy, in the sense that you go to sit there and watch brain-dumbing comedy. It wasn't a Schindler's List. It wasn't a terrible comedy. There were definitely plots that were wrong with it. There were things I didn't like about it. There were jokes I didn't like about it. But there were also jokes that I literally cried laughing at. So, what did you think highlighted the original was better?
The very fact that a lot of what happened in this Ghostbusters was set pieces. Things happened in the film just because that was a funny sketch, or that was a funny skit, or let's do this bit, and oh, wouldn't it be funny if like they get out of the car and they see that and then they get back in the car. I don't know, there's loads of little things that happened that was funny for the sake of being funny, but it wasn't part of the story. It was a cute, amusing bit of the film. But the original Ghostbusters, apart from a couple of montages that have to be in there, everything that happens in the original film is part of the narrative, is part of the storyline, and it progresses the storyline. But things like the job interview, it's like, that didn't need to be so long.
The job interview is what I was crying laughing at. But does the ghost in the original Ghostbusters need to give someone a blowjob in the montage?
No, but that's the montage. That's it's a musical montage to show the passing of time. Blowjob or no blowjob, you realise that they've been working for a good few weeks.
Okay, alright. I'll give you that. Okay, no, but I'm trying to think, because as much as I actually do agree with you, I'm also thinking, are they just gags thrown in? Because you could say that about the original, but the original, like at the beginning, Bill Murray is shocking the man, trying to test for paranormal to see if they're psychic. And the guy, even though he gets it right, shocks him, but he never shocks the girl because he wants to sleep with her.
But that's defining the character. That's important to have that.
But the job interview is defining the character that Chris Hemsworth is an idiot.
That kind of gets across throughout the film. I don't think he needed that, and it was a running gag. A bit of a two-dimensional running gag, I thought.
Oh, okay, right. I do agree. I respectfully disagree that the gag was cheap though, because that was one of the best gags in it. Because my cat just killed me. See,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. That wasn't a necessary. In fact, that's one of the things that took me out of the film. It was almost like they didn't even know what the script was going to be. It felt, which in some films is amusing. It's some films.
Are you saying it was a bit Family Guy-esque? Like the structure of it?
I guess. Is that a thing now? Is that how people define?
No, it's just how I do.
Editing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't have noticed it and I wouldn't have minded it as much. But I was aware that this is a Ghostbusters film with at least half an hour into it. I know that at some point they're going to have proton packs. Why haven't they got that far yet?
I have to disagree, only because your two examples were the funniest jokes for me.
Yeah.
But also, at the same time, I do remember, I have this rule, if at any point during a film I've gone, what time is it? They failed. And I did that with Ghostbusters.
My test, and this is my test to make sure that it worked, I went in there needing a pee. And I didn't go to the toilet.
But that's just an uncomfortable experience.
No, because the way my body works is it kind of like, actually, can we get... Like, I have an off switch. Can I see what my funniest line is?
Yeah,
and it was like, I howled. I leant forward and I laughed into the
other two people in the cinema.
And I laughed back of their head. It was the line, I can't remember the actress's name, unfortunately, sorry. But it was the bit where they were in the tunnel and they were using the proton packs for the first time. And the ghost ended up on the train. And somebody goes, he's going to Queens, and someone shouts, he is going to be the third scariest thing on that train. And the way it was delivered, it was just absolutely side-splitting. I thought it was brilliant. It's great delivery on some of the weird lines. But that also brings into something else, and this is one of the other things. Sorry, Lucy, I will give you a show back.
I didn't think it was that funny. Sorry, I just had to say that. Go on.
All right, fine. That's fine.
Okay.
One of the things that I was aware of when I was watching it is that I wanted to walk out there with a quote, a line, because anyone who's watched the original Ghostbusters, well, no, there's like 30, 40 things you can quote from Ghostbusters.
That's true.
Yeah, but yeah, there was none of that kind of that quote, that line wasn't there.
I'll give you that. I will give you that.
Nothing that I would walk out there saying, and I wanted to. I genuinely, for this, I wanted to kind of remember a line that I could say, and I couldn't. Unfortunately, that kind of like, he's the third scariest thing on that train, is the only line I could walk away remembering, ignoring anything that appeared in the trailers.
Fair enough. Okay, so one thing I think we should address, and I am really worried about addressing this, is the response to the fact that there were women there. One thing I think went really, really well with this film is that they addressed it within the film.
Yes!
I think they went too far with it. The first sign is when they're like looking up on YouTube and it says, ain't no bitches gonna get no ghosts, or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, we were like, brilliant.
That must have been an actual comment that somebody put on something.
And to me, that reminded me that you just said there's no line. To me, that is the iconic line of the film. And I thought that was brilliant. I was like, right, you've addressed it. You go, right, we know it's there, we're doing it anyway. As the film went on, I thought it got cheaper and cheaper. They bring it up again when the lady drops on the floor and she goes, I don't know if it's a race thing or a sex thing, but I am pissed. I didn't like that. I thought that was a really cheap shot. It didn't need to be in there. The whole thing didn't need to be in there. And then when they shoot the marshmallow balloon in the crotch, I was like, now you're just making it a war against women and men.
No, I didn't see that. I thought that's actually a logical thing.
The logical thing is shooting a possessed phantom balloon in the crotch.
Yeah, logically. If I was in that situation and you've got this giant thing holding, even if it was Godzilla, right? If he's holding 2 buildings like that, what are you gonna shoot to get him to let go?
It's weird that me.
Well, an additional one as well is, I think, Slimer Ghost. The female Slimer.
John didn't like that. I didn't mind the Slimer.
I didn't need that. There was no need. It just appeared. It was like a cast aside thing.
But segueing onto the cameos.
Cameos.
I thought the cameos were done amazingly. One, that Bill Murray was a debunker of ghosts. I thought that was brilliant.
Yes.
And I think, but the unfortunate thing is, I think he highlighted how bad some of the actors were. Because when you have a bunch of average actors next to each other, then they just seem like actors. Then you have this phenomenal actor come in, and then you go like, oh man, they're really shit.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like that because why don't we research names? Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig, they are very typecast actors for the personalities they have, or their acting personalities that they portray.
Yeah.
And you know, so was Bill Murray. You know, he played the same character in every film. I just happen to like the character he played. Melissa McCarthy can annoy the living crap out of me, and Wiig's style of acting is a very fashionable sense of humour. So I worry if that will date the film. But yeah, I think them two next to Bill Murray kind of highlighted just how good an actor Bill Murray was. Kind of like in the way that you said this film highlights how good the original Ghostbusters is.
Yes.
But then I loved the fact that the cameos were for everyone, including Vanessa as a receptionist.
And the first one that I noticed was the bust, you know, and it was so clearly there, and it was like, well played.
There was.
And
the whole room went, oh, when they saw that. They were like, yeah.
I'd like to think that the whole room would have done it in mine as well if more than 3 people went. But I just went silently, well played, well played. In the original movie, the reveal of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is so perfect and so brilliant and so iconic.
What, because it's meant to be like this absolute terrifying Godzilla-esque monster, but it's the Puff Marshmallow.
Yeah, and yes, but it was still like, you know, seeing this giant Stay Puft and the reveal in between the buildings and stuff like that, and it was like, yeah, okay, it was low budget, and the way they did it, they had to, you know, but it was so filmed so well, and the hairs in the back, still watching it now, the hairs in the back of your neck goes up because everyone's acting and the editing is great and perfect. The reveal of the equivalent in this one just felt like a cartoon. It literally like a cartoon because it appeared as a cartoon, but then when it enlarged, any intensity, it looked any like fear, which is also another thing that I want to pick up. Any fear that you had of this giant monstrosity was just disappeared. I also feel like it was quickly squashed. Like, there's the big monster, and then they just killed it straight away. Yeah. There was no... You wait for that other...
In the original film, you never cross streams.
I was waiting for that line! I was waiting for that line!
I was waiting for that line. And I don't know whether it's because I always thought in the original Ghostbusters, it looked like they crossed streams anyway, because the wires are always going everywhere.
Yeah, there's no not crossing streams.
But in the original Ghostbusters, they make this selfless, conscious decision to cross the streams and risk everything because there's nothing left. If they don't do it, they're gonna die or they're gonna lose. And they do it and they're rewarded by, they kill him. In this, they just go, why don't we just blow that up? I'm like, genius. And it's just too easy.
Oh hey, here comes Slimer driving that vehicle right now.
Yeah, there's no...
Which you knew it was coming as well. You knew that was coming.
Even in Toy Story 3, there's a scene where they all hold hands and accept their mortality before they're quickly saved. Yeah. There's nothing there where you kind of go on the edge of your seat and go, it's all over. They just kind of go, there's a big monster, and then they very quickly kill him. There's no fight, there's no nothing. Yeah. And he looks like the Oogie Boogie Man from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, but with cartoonish features that kind of, like I said, it felt like it suddenly turned into a Pixar movie, and there were so many ghosts and so many monsters and so many extreme things. The original Ghostbusters didn't need that, but that still felt like a huge event, you know. I can only remember like 3 ghosts or 4 ghosts that emerged during the apocalyptic conclusion kind of thing. The
other thing I didn't get though as well, and I genuinely don't know if I missed out on something, were balloons possessed?
Don't know. Don't know. It was just, that's what I mean. This is going back to it. It's just set pieces. Somebody said, well, what if, because it's New York, oh, what if there's a parade? And it's like, hey, look, you know, somebody can say, hey, look, it's the parade. It was like, oh no, they're evil parade.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't get why Neil Casey, who plays the bad guy, but I can't remember, it's Ronan? I think it was Ronan. He plays the bad guy. When he comes back from the dead, he can control people. Why? None of this was explained.
Complexly thrown together and unnecessary. And yeah, it's just, in general, it was confusing, but again, it was because it's diluting so many other scenes that didn't need to be in there.
Kate McKinnon, though, is genuinely, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, my biggest crush at the moment, though. Yeah. I thought she was amazing in it. I thought she was one of the truest personalities to the Ghostbusters. She was eccentric, she was crazy. Sometimes I think she was a little too crazy for the sake of just being weird, but overall I thought she was quirky and brilliant, and she was funny, and she's dancing with fire, and she sets things on fire, and she's squashed by balloons, and she's like, hey guys, this is exactly how I imagine my death. You know, and there's something about her. I've seen her in real life though. She does nothing for me. I only crush on her as a Ghostbuster.
But it's humour like that, as things are happening, that make me feel like even they didn't at any point feel like they were in any danger. The whole thing, and this is something that, because obviously
she was very Deadpool-esque.
Yes, at no point did they even act like they were scared or worried for each other, or you know, it just, the whole thing felt cartoonish. And I watched your video before you went to go and see it.
Yes.
And I saw the one real line that I took from your non-spoiler review was that it's a comedy. Now, Ghostbusters, yeah, the original Ghostbusters is a comedy, but it's scary. It's like when you watch the...
I give you that. That ghost in the library in the original still scares me.
Yeah. And
when the eggs are cooking and popping on the
seat,
fridge.
the chair, when Sigourney Weaver is sitting in the chair, scarier than Alien, as far as I'm concerned. When she's sitting there and the chair is and the door is groaning, and suddenly the hands grab her by the mouth and she's dragged in.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is so scary. When I was younger, I was looking through my fingers at that bit. There was some scary moments. There was genuine threat to people's lives in that thing. So what's your view on the CGI then? Let's just get that out of the way. CGI versus prosthetics.
I'm not being rude that I keep looking at my phone. It's more the fact that all my notes are on here and I keep looking at them. And I actually wrote down
for all doing this.
Somewhat. You don't have any notes to look at. Oh, can't work out whether I like the CGI or not. But I think by default, if I can't work it out, that means I don't like it. Because if someone's done their job properly, you shouldn't notice it. But then obviously I know ghosts don't really exist. It's really messed up. In the trailer, I thought it looked terrible. I thought it looked like video game CGI. And then in the film, I did think it looked a bit better. I thought I liked what they were going for. He wasn't Deadpool.
Taxi driver in Deadpool wasn't being racist. Sorry, I saw him. I was like, is that a taxi guy? To myself in the cinema, obviously. Is that a taxi guy from Deadpool? And then it turned out it was.
There you go.
Straight away, that's fantastic of him. He's culting it up. He's totally culting it up.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, back to me. The CGI was better than I thought it would be in places, because I liked the way they went with the flowy ghost glowy thing, but overall, but the other thing as well, this isn't an adult film. It's a 12A. It's for kids. This is a kids film.
Wasn't Ghostbusters a PG, or wasn't it? Or yeah, wasn't Ghostbusters a PG?
I don't know, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying is the fact that it has this kind of animated effect to it. That might be because it's for kids, or it can be for all ages. Maybe they didn't want this one to be scary. Maybe they did have too many kids hiding behind their hands with the first one. That they were like, maybe we should make this one less scary.
But that's an important thing though in these films anyway. It's like you want to build an action hero. You want to, and these four fantastic actresses, you know, they did brilliantly in it.
There was no
I'm not being sexist whatsoever in terms of whether they should be Ghostbusters or not. I think they did fantastically, and their interpretation of the Ghostbusters worked phenomenally well. But they also have to realize if they want to be action heroes, like genuine heroes, they have to have a threat to their life,
the thing
which
is,
they didn't have.
There's a general premise when being any sort of hero. There's the origin. There's the montage of time that they build up, and it's true. It's true. You need that montage that shows, like in South Park, and it's like, I need a montage, and they start building up towards something. Then there is a dip. There is a crisis of confidence where everything looks like it's about to be questioned and they're not going to make it. That's when everything bad happens and they're like, no, we will save it. And just at the last minute, they are better than ever. And that is the general formula of a superhero film or any type of save the world type of film. And there was, what?
Nailed it.
Thank you. And they didn't have so much that dip. They had the we're frauds.
It was that one moment when she got possessed. That was apparently their dip.
I think it was more...
Even when their car got towed away.
This is something I didn't get. I thought the dip was going to be, we're going to make you out as frauds.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of a clever aspect, because in the other film they were heroes, and this time they're like, no, we're not going to acknowledge they're a ghost. But we'll still let you work as Ghostbusters. So they go, like, it doesn't even bother them, they just start playing with new equipment.
Confiscate their equipment or anything like that.
And that, to me, was a very bad plot line, because what would have happened is you can't work anymore, and then behind the mayor's back they would have gone, no, fuck them, we're still going to do it. But they didn't, they were still allowed to do it.
The first one went to prison, didn't they? Yeah, the first one went to prison.
Yeah, so there wasn't even any conflict with the government who are telling them you can't be known to do this. What I did like though, and it does remind me, I like the fact they had new weapons. I like the fact they were making...
Yeah, that modernised it a bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Sexed it up, so to speak.
Yeah, when she licks that gun. But yeah, there was no dip, there was no crisis of confidence, there was no genuine panic or threat. Although there was, but it wasn't executed or portrayed through the screen properly.
Yeah, but I also have to question whether this could be because I like a more traditional style of film editing.
Well, this is also a good thing. This is a good point, should I say. Can you ever really compete with nostalgia? I don't think you can.
Because no, I mean, like I said, I don't think Ghostbusters was that great a film. When I like it. I like it. It was great when it was out, when I was younger, and it used to be like my parents taped it on the same tape as Neverending Story. So I'd watch Neverending Story, and then the end credits, and then suddenly, and there's Ghostbusters, and it was ace. But in that context, it was good.
Well, of course you loved it, Ghostbusters after that, because after Neverending Story, that's the most depressing film ever.
Yeah.
Say my name!
Well, yeah, we're losing it. Sorry, I was gonna go into the kind of like the
We've had a drink.
These look like big, strong hands. If they make that again, I'm gonna be really, really angry. Oh no, I was gonna say something. But yeah, so it wasn't that precious to me. I didn't mind them doing a remake, but like I said, this makes me realise what made Ghostbusters so special. And it was the low budget, and it was the fact that that guy was in Deadpool as well is another great segue. Deadpool is a freaking brilliant movie, and it's a fantastic film, and it didn't get anywhere near the budget that all the other Super Mooper movies. And yeah, so Deadpool was one of the lowest budget, received one of the lowest budgets out of all the superhero blockbuster movies, and it was amazing because it did what it could with the budget it had. And the original Ghostbusters was exactly the same. They did what they could. That open library sequence in the first Ghostbusters movies was a book on a string, and like the sound effects, and they used some sort of blowing thing to make the tickets fly around. But and the music, and it's such a creepy sequence. It's
terrifying.
But this one, it had all the budget and it needed to make this huge thing with so many ghosts and so many. Oh look, there's a pirate one, and there's a pilgrim one, and there's a prison one, and stuff like that. So much so that you couldn't tell one from the other.
Do you know what? I actually agree with you, and I
love the surprise in your voice. Do you know
what, Ilan? For once, you make a
stop cameras.
a point, if you will. But yeah, I went out of the film saying, you know what, it's an alright film. It's like a 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. because it's a comedy, it does what it does, it made me laugh, and it did make me laugh, and I'm not taking it away from that, and the cast worked well together in all fairness. Even though I didn't,
were brilliant. Yeah.
Even though I don't particularly like a lot of the actors on their own, I thought they were very diluted together and they were strong together. And you know, there's nothing super offensive about the film to me, and because I was so not looking forward to it, I think I went out thinking probably more positively than if I just went in completely neutral. But talking to you about it, I'm like, yeah, you're right. It still doesn't make it a good film. And yeah, there's a lot wrong. I knew there was a lot wrong with it anyway, but like the more I'm talking about it, I'm like, yeah, this is not a good film.
but it is for kids.
No, and do you know what? Even now, after 30 minutes of us talking about it, I still say it doesn't matter. Because we have our Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And I saw, the day after I went to go see the film, I saw this picture of this little girl dressed as Ghostbuster, high-fiving one of the actresses.
It's for her.
And in the background, there's another one just looking at her like she's looking at a hero. And I went, no, this Ghostbusters is for them. And, you know, not just for little girls, but for little boys too. Because I loved the Ghostbusters when I was a kid, and that was about men. But now, you know, it's just, this Ghostbusters isn't for us. And as long as the kids like it, then us as adults should shut the fuck up.
Very quickly then, you okay?
I could see something on my face. What it is? It's the face detector thing. It's following me. God.
But
what do you rate it as?
What do I rate it? I'd say it's a solid 7. I think it's a good film. It's a good film. And you know, and it was fun. I don't think it warrants a sequel though. If there is one, I don't think.
Did you see stay till the end credits?
There was more?
There was like a little bit at the end credit.
Was it Slimer?
They're talking and all of a sudden something comes through and it just says Zool.
Ah.
And to be honest,
the hairs on my neck.
Yeah,
but you know why though? You know why though? That means something to me.
Yeah, exactly. I went a bit
because they're using the original series.
They're playing on our heartstrings.
Yeah, and that's not nice.
Because
that's not
they're
nice.
gonna mess
you can't
it up
have both ways.
Yeah.
You're either targeting
You're a hard
us.
reboot. Yeah, pick kids or us, okay?
Yeah.
One or the other.
Yeah, because we're just gonna go and see it and complain that, well, that's not Zool.
That's a teddy
Where's
bear.
the woman with the crop top? The chopped top hair and
she looked like from a bad MTV music video.
Oh, you know what though? You know, are you gods? And then went,
you say yes!
That's what I mean. Straight away, there's more passion behind those lines. No, or when like, what did you do, Ray? There's just so many words. None of that is in
If
this
anyone
film.
ever asks if you're a god, you say yes!
Andy Garcia, when she turns up, is the mayor of the city. When she turns up to the restaurant and she's shouting like that, and the security guards turn up at last, he goes, way too long. That took way too long. That was a brilliant line. Because it did. That's Cinema Sins is going to list that one.
Yeah.
Cinema Sins is going to list that one. So yeah, thank you for watching and letting me come back on the show again.
Thank you. I actually really enjoyed that.
Yes.
Like I don't enjoy the other one.
Yeah, thanks for the reassurance. It was the wine.
Yeah. What did you think of Ghostbusters? And I don't mean just, I don't even want to discuss whether women should be Ghostbusters or not.
Yeah, because I think we should all move on from that.
Yeah, we've seen the film now. Let's rate it on its merit of what the actual film is. And as we've established, we personally don't think it's great. We also probably don't think it's worth the absolute hatred it's received.
No.
It's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle of a good film and the hatred it's getting.
Yeah.
I think it's a good 6 and a smiley face.
Okay, well, I got 7 and a kind of like, face.
So probably even out.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe and comment because it makes my day.
It does. And the more likes and comments it gets, the more likeliness that she'll come back here and film more stuff with me.
Yeah, and a genuine thing. Do you like us talking about stuff? Because I know these videos are usually a little bit longer than others, but I have had feedback saying that they're good.
That's not fair. That's not fair because this is literally, do you like Ilan? Because obviously they like your show, they're watching your show. You're literally saying, do you like Ilan? I hope to see you again. Let us know what other film you want us to review. That sounds quite cool.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and we'll make sure that we see it and
Probably won't though.
We'll try.
Well, no promises.
If it's a good film.
Yeah, we might not want to talk about it. Bye!
Bye-bye.
More wine, please.
Something strange.
In the neighborhood.
Who you gonna call?
Ghost!